Finally, the evil Gowon did against Igbos is now coming to haunt him. The whole North, all of them, they are now fighting him. They are now being against him for causing this issue of terrorism happening in the whole North. Because had they been he accept the true federalism system of government that they signed in Aburi Accord, this issue of terrorism wouldn't have been happening today. At least every section would have been on his own and manage his own resources and their own economy. But due to his interest in the oil well, in his interest in the economy of the East, that is why he joined hand with the British to fight against the Igbo. Today, look at what is happening. Just watch by yourself and see what is really going on, and how his people is not fighting him, biting him up and down because of the evil he committed. They are saying that he's the one that is sponsoring this issue of terrorism happening, and mostly what is happening to the Christians in Nigeria, that he's the cause of it. Had it been he accept what Ojukwu said today, everybody would have been, every state would have been peaceful, like the way they want it to be. But due to his ignorance and the way he used to do things, he thought that letting true federalism happen to Nigeria, it will cost him a lot. But he don't know that it will even help him to achieve the goal which he is looking for. Today, everywhere is now burning fire. Just watch by yourself and then you see what is really going on in Nigeria. As about to watch, like, subscribe, and share for everyone to see things going on in the country.
Gowon as the architect of the destruction of Plateau. He is. But before I delve into that, I would like to read some of the agreement reached in Aburi. Then we'll move ahead. He said the key reached agreement at Aburi. The accord emphasized decentralization, collective decision making, and regional autonomy within a federating unit. I would like to stop here, or you can call it confederation anyway. Had it been just like the way Joseph Ankara told Jack and Ojukwu, that if you guys can implement this, Nigeria will be better off. I still believe in that till tomorrow. Had it been that Aburi Accord was implemented, we would never have anything like Boko Haram, ISWAP, or anything terrorizing a whole federation called Nigeria. You will never have them. So the common, I wouldn't say it's a mistake, it was a deliberate attempt by Gowon. And today the Plateau is receiving it hot, like they are giving to them what Gowon cooked for them years ago. The problem of the Plateau is Gowon. The decision he refused to take, the things he refused to do, a whole lot of things he refused to answer till date. And he's even making it worse by not accepting his mistakes. He's still insistent that he did the right thing. In his book, I read it and I saw somebody who is not ready for Nigeria to change. He is not ready. And believe me, Plateau State is at the receiving end today. As long as I hate to talk about that, Gowon should own up. Gowon should tell the world the mistake he made. Today they are afraid of the Igbos. Everywhere they go, they say Igbos this, Igbos that. Igbos are the problem of Nigeria. Igbos are the this, Igbos are the that. Igbos are more Nigerian than any ethnic group in Nigeria, whether you like it or not. After the Civil War, they were given £20 to start their lives. Igbos are the only entity in Nigeria. It's no longer news. I don't know why we are sounding like broken records. Igbos are the only people that will leave their region to another region to open a company and employ people that are not Igbos. Build houses in a place where ordinarily is not their own home. They will develop it. They will make sure that that state, that locality works. Some time ago, I told us a story about one of my friends that went to Anchor for his youth service. There, he noticed that the village he was sent to don't have water. There is no water there. A copper, he started raising money to open a borehole. Open a borehole, built a small kiosk there. He was sleeping there. No, that time not wasn't this bad. He built that and was selling water there. As at 2010, that guy had some branches here and there where he's selling water. That business have been there before, the people didn't see it until an Igbo man came there and started making money from that. That is how they are. So apart from that, I'm not talking about the business part of it, of their life. But today you see people being afraid of Igbos. Everybody, they call it Igbophobia. If you don't really want Igbos in Nigeria, why are you keeping them? It's only in Nigeria that you see somebody, politicians, they hate something and they still allow the person to be in their closet. No, it's not done anywhere in the world. If I believe that Igbo man is my problem, all the things I will do or everything that I will do is to let that Igbo man leave. Of course, I will tell them to go. If I am the president of Nigeria today and everywhere you go, you destroy their businesses in Lagos, you destroy their businesses in Kano, Kaduna, Zaria, everywhere. After Nigerian Biafra war, you guys declared abandoned property. I used to remember in Okwe Road, people that know Sapele very well, Okwe Road. Okwe Road used to be Igbo Road. Igbo Road, that road. Yes, people that know Sapele very well. They used to call it Igbo Road because Igbos, all those houses you see, are owned by Igbos. But after the war, it was declared abandoned property. The same thing in River State. And Igbos are still surviving. So, I would like us to think, is Igbos really the problem of Nigeria, or are you guys just trying to say something that is of no use to anybody? That's why I started with this Gowon issue. I've had some discussions with some of my friends from Jos, and we try to understand that had it been Gowon implemented that, every sector of Nigeria, every area in Nigeria, every corner of Nigeria would have been peaceful. And they would have been developing very much. There will be competitions here and there. Healthy competition, as it is in Scotland, Wales, England today. There is a very healthy competition amongst these people. They have their prime minister there. Scotland have first minister, and so is other part of the UK. Nobody is disturbing anybody. Don't tell me it's the British that made it. We still have brains. We can tell British no. Don't tell me British that made the Gowon not to implement all those things. I don't want to hear that, because Gowon have brains. Yes, many people that were working with him have some brains. Ojukwu was part of it, and when he started implementing that, he was called a rebel. And a civil war eventually. What they were trying, remember all these things happened after 1966 coup. What they were trying to avoid eventually happened because somebody refused to do the right thing, and the other side say we had an agreement, we need to follow the agreement. Several meetings were called. Gowon called several meetings. Ojukwu refused to attend. Why? Because they already had an agreement that you need to obey. You need to go by that. And now you are calling us to have another agreement after the one we reached at Ghana. No, now check them now. If now you go agree. No. So the problem of Nigeria today is Gowon, whether anybody likes it or not. Gowon is the problem of Nigeria today, and Nigeria will not get out of it until we get leadership right. Until we get leadership right, until we fix INEC, until we realize that few individuals cannot conquer 250 million people. The Tinubus, the Akpabios, the Umahis, all of them that are there in Aso Rock trying to destroy Nigeria cannot conquer Nigeria, and Nigerians are peaceful. Nigerians are very, very okay with the whole thing. Until we say no to this madness, these things will continue. Nigerians need to get leadership right. If you don't get it right, this madness will continue. And I'm telling you, it's not stopping anytime soon. Look at what one man is doing to Nigerians. Destroying the whole political parties just because he knows that he's not doing anything. The only way he can win is through court and INEC. That's why he's trying to make Nigeria a one-party state. Everything Nadeko and the so-called Tinubu stood against in the past are the things that are being used against Nigerians today. And when you talk, they will say no, you are anti-democratic, you are this, you are that. They will call you names. Those were the things they fought against Nadeko and Tinubu. Today, all Nadeko members, almost all of them are APC members today. And none of them want to say, Tinubu, what you are doing is wrong. A professor who went to radio station with gun to tell them not to announce the result, today is mute. He doesn't want to say anything. Many people that are vocal those days, all of them are deaf and dumb now. Nobody want to say anything because Tinubu is in power. Some of them that would like to talk will say government, 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 government. They will never call Tinubu's name because nobody want to offend him. If it were to be other tribe, Jonathan was a case in point. You saw what he did when Jonathan was in power. Many of them were vocal when Buhari was in power. They were calling him names. You can mention Tunde Bakari and all the rest of them, many of them. Today, all of them are deaf and dumb. They don't really want to say anything. Just the same way Gowon destroyed Nigeria from the beginning, and today people are celebrating him. Why are you celebrating him? He is part of the Nigerian, he is part of the system that destroyed the future of Nigerians. Gowon. And today the Plateau, innocent people are paying the price of wrong decision that he took. I believe one day we'll get the leadership right. I believe one day Nigerians will rise because the time is now. My name is Hyacinth and this is the Hyacinth Network. Thank you for listening to me. Please like and share and get the information across to Nigerians. Thank you. May God bless you. May God bless Nigerians.
All right, you've heard it. And like I said, I really don't want to, start going into such shabby and discussion that doesn't hold waters. But for the benefit of doubt, let me just show you guys what the guy is saying. Probably I've not heard it. I don't know if any of you have heard such thing. But gullible people, you can use anything to confuse them. And some people are buying that idea through from the north. Well, let's listen.
Peter Obi killed Ahmadu Bello and Tafawa Balewa. For clarity's sake, Ahmadu Bello was killed in Kaduna. Tafawa Balewa was killed in Lagos. But his body was found in Ifo, I think, Ifo Abeokuta Road. Yeah, that's where his body was found, alongside Okoti Ebo. That's where his body was found. Now, Peter Obi was born, I think, July 19th, 1961. And this Nzogu school was 1966 January. I think January 15th or thereabout, if I'm not mistaken. January 15th. Now, Obi was just 5 years when all these things were happening, or when all these things happened. Now today, some group of people is now perpetrating lies everywhere in the north. As I'm talking to you now, people are buying the idea that Obi drove Nzowu to kill Tafawa Balewa and Ahmadu Bello. Obi was 5 years. They said Obi was the driver that drove Nzowu to go and kill Tafawa Balewa and Ahmadu Bello. It is annoying that a 5-year-old boy, at that time, some people believe that 5-year-old boy can do such thing. That is the same system these Fulani extremists are using to make sure that the Hausas are down like they are nobody. Because they believe that the Hausas are conquered people. And because they are conquered, they should eat, chew everything you Fulani extremists are giving them. Extremism has no room in Nigerian politics. That is why you hardly see or hear Atiku or anybody condemn the killings, the terrorism that is going on. Because a true Zanla man, a true Hausa man can never kill. I am telling you, you hardly see a true Hausa man take up arms to kill anybody. They don't do that. They will tell you it's against Quran. You can ask around. But these guys, every year, every time, they bring in some negative narratives to keep the Hausas down. They say that Obi is the one that killed Ahmadu Bello. Obi is the one that killed Tafawa Balewa. And when the Kwankwasia movement is now telling people the truth in the north, everywhere in the north, everywhere you see Kwankwaso and Kwankwasia movement telling them that people, these our Fulanis have been ruling you for decades and you are still here. You are not going forward, you are not going backward, you are just there. You guys are cobblers, you guys are sugarcane sellers, you guys are not adding anything to your life. No education, nothing. You don't have water, you live in abject poverty, and they, the Fulanis, are the corridors of power. They, the Fulanis, are ruling you, even in your own land. Sokoto used to be Hausa land. Today, who is ruling Sokoto? The Sadwana of Sokoto is a Fulani man. Every emir you see in the north today are all Fulanis. And each time they make the Hausas believe that we are the same. You guys are not the same. You don't speak the same language. You are being used and dumped at every point in time. My name is Hyacinth and this is the Hyacinth Network. Please like and share. There is no way Fulani extremists and Hausas are the same. The Zanlas are different. And thank goodness that Kwankwaso and Kwankwasia movement is now opening their eyes to the reality of life. You've tried your fellow Hausa Fulani person for years and it didn't work. Why not try somebody who is not Hausa or Fulani and see if it will work? It's only a fool that does one thing every now and then and expect a different result. It's only a fool that will sit down in a place and say, I don't want to develop myself and expect things to change. It's only a fool that will say, I don't want to go to school and you want to know exactly what is happening in the world. It's only a fool that will sit down in this house and say, I don't have friends. I don't want to be anybody's friends. And yet, you want things to work out between you and other people if you don't want to associate with people. How do you know exactly what is going on in the world? I am telling you that the truth about life is what you need to know. Peter Obi is telling you that you need to do the right thing at all times. Where the son of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. That's what PO is telling you. And until you realize that, you will continue to live in abject poverty. The same thing is trending in Yoruba land today. Almost all the Obas in the Yoruba land, almost all of them are are Muslims. It's only few individuals that are Christians. They show their dominance everywhere they go, whether you like it or not. Why Christians preach for peace, they preach violence every now and then. And you believe that they are of great opinions. The time for change is now. You've been in abject poverty, you've been in penury, you've been suffering for years. It is time for you to check out other areas and see what is going on. Try Peter Obi and see if he will not change your life. My name is Hyacinth and this is the Hyacinth Network. Please like, share, and may God bless you. And may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you for listening to me.
Alright, viewers, you can see that talk doesn't hold water, but I just want you guys to see, and in case if you have not heard such thing, so that this will be an opportunity for you to know what is circulating. Yes, I am still going to show you further things that are happening concerning insecurity and other few things that I would like you to give a listening ear. Let's go.
For centuries, the Hausa and Fulani have shared close historical, cultural, and political ties with many people, especially the Nigerian press, referring to them collectively as Hausa Fulani. But in recent months, a campaign by some certain individuals has sought to redefine that relationship, arguing that the Hausa ethnic group should be recognized separately from the Fulani. One of the leading voices of the movement, Abdullahi, says the campaign is aimed at dissociating the Hausa from what he describes as the actions of some criminal elements who hide under the Fulani identity. He alleges that the insecurity and banditry affecting parts of the country have unfairly shaped public perceptions of the Hausa because of their long-standing association with the Fulani.
We are not in the war with anyone. It's a misunderstanding. We want to stand on our feet. We realize that using that word, that notation, Hausa Fulani, is like a scam to us. It's a scam which eventually we are at the lower benefit. And what initiates all this activism is as a result of this banditry that caused all this. And we knew those are causes of all these aliens that we live with.
The campaign has also drawn the attention of security agencies. One of its promoters, Bicha Misangu, is currently in the custody of the Department of State Service. Authorities have not publicly disclosed the specific reasons for his continued detention. Bicha's wife says he was arrested by security operatives and has remained in custody since then.
I traveled to Geneva on the 2nd of June, and that was the last time I had any contact with him on phone. So I became worried because I couldn't reach him, and we started asking questions, and somehow we found out that he was being held at the DSS headquarters. So when I got back to Nigeria, I tried to see him, and from the little I gathered when I saw him, he is being held because of his social media activism. And basically what he says is there's a clear difference between Hausas and Fulanis. There's no such thing as Hausa Fulani. He advocates for Hausa ethnic consciousness.
The traumatized wife is calling on the security agencies to release her husband or charge him to court.
All we are asking for is his return to his family. I keep lying to my kids. My son keeps asking questions, and I can't seem to explain to a child why his father has been away from home for so long without giving any tangible reason. And this is somebody who has never broken any law to the best of my knowledge. He's been law-abiding. He's been an upright person. So if he has done something wrong, charge him to court, Even a criminal has his day in court. How much more somebody that is saying, look, I need to speak up for my people?
Historians and analysts, however, are urging caution, warning that ethnic tensions should not be allowed to overshadow the shared history between communities in northern Nigeria.
Any tribe, you have good and bad people. So that idea of saying they want to separate from Fulani because Fulani are bandits is most ridiculous, because not all Fulanis are bandits. You have in Kano here, how many Fulanis are bandits? How many people are there that you can just lump them and do this profiling? It's a political project.
Some residents also rejected attempts to associate crime with any particular ethnic group, insisting that criminality has no tribe and that individuals should be held accountable for their actions rather than entire communities.
Crime in itself has no name. Crime in itself has no tribe. A criminal is a criminal. He should be given that name, not his tribe. By the time you begin, yes, of course, the dominant, persons that participated today in this act, majority were Fulanis.
The debate continues to generate mixed reactions, reflecting broader conversations about identity, history, and security in northern Nigeria. Observers say maintaining peaceful coexistence and avoiding ethnic profiling will be critical as the discussions evolve. Ayo Adinaye, Arise News.
Yes. Very, very shocking. Truth is very bitter, and then we'll keep preaching the gospel of truth, and they keep saying it everywhere we go. As Gowon, he keep claiming, and they keeping adamant in the name that what he did is right, that keeping Nigeria by all means is what he's still standing on. We are not saying keeping Nigeria by all means, but keeping Nigeria the way it's supposed to be, and letting people to understand that they are human beings. Today in the country, everywhere you go, every corner you go, you must hear the issue of banditry, kidnapping, and the rest of it. No section of the country is safe. No section of this country is even safe for any man to claim that Nigeria is a country. But it is a country for the politician, for those who claim and who embezzle the money and who destroy the livelihood of their own people. That is the people that will be claiming to you that Nigeria is safe, that Nigeria is good, Nigeria is this and that. The evil Gowon did is what is haunting his people. The evil he did against the Igbos, the evil he did against the whole nation, because during then, when they were doing everything, they thought that it is just the Igbo problem, it is just Igbophobia, it is just for them to fight against the Igbo because of because of Ojukwu want to secede out of Nigeria. They don't know that that is a solution to the country. That is a way to tell you that this issue of claiming that we want to be in Nigeria forever, or we want to be in Nigeria without thinking our forward, how to live in this country, it is not way forward. That is what is happening today. Today, Plateau, his own place, which is Jos, in fact, is everyday buying of people, unaliving people everywhere in the north, in the middle belt, in the cold north, and none of the politicians is doing anything about it. The former chief of army staff, the generals, all of them, they are just there looking. Those who claim that the Igbo is the problem of Nigeria, they are just there looking. The problem is because of that. Give me my own share, then that is the problem. But the people that keep carrying guns everywhere, destroying villages, going to villages, towns, destroying their schools, churches, and everything, those people, they are not the problem of Nigeria. Even though their own ethnic group, they are even still claiming that they are not the problem of Nigeria, that the Igbo is the problem. The people who give you light, who like you to understand what is evil and what is good, and who tell you, look at this person is the one that will cause this evil to you. That is some people you claim that they are the problem of the country. In fact, a lot is happening. What is really going on in the north, and at this time, the way the Hausas, they are coming out to claim and to say that they are no more Hausa Fulani. You know, somebody that they have already conquered have nothing to say. They have conquered you, they have conquered you, so you have nothing to say. The people who can make this thing to work for now, it is people like Gowon, those people that claim that they owns Nigeria. They are the people that can make things to work. They are the people that can come out and they say a word and say enough is enough to the Fulanis, to the things that are doing to the people of the Hausas. They are the people that can speak. But if not, other people that is talking, they talk nothing and they can do nothing. I would like your comment down below, like, subscribe, and share for everyone to see things going on in the country. So thank you for watching.